So yeah, my roommate is getting himself into a lot of trouble, but it's only because he can't get the care he needs. Now, mostly it's actually my father's fault. He called my worker, my doctors, Dr. Hodge, the department, and he's sent letters saying it's all mental illness and there's no reason to pay for my services. And that, I mean, like, when I mean by my services, I just mean to get looked at and do any testing in the emergency room, like a head scan. They just won't do it. My father says there's no need for a head scan, there's no need for anything after a seizure, there's no need for an ambulance bracelet, but also that he's given this to the Department of Health and Human Services, who I'm applying for Social Security and cash benefits through. So they just don't want to pay that out, so they cut off everything. Now, whatever, but this is also affecting the 84-year-old I take care of because I try to do three things. I try to follow Jesus, help the elderly and disabled people. I work with the town, and that's whatever I can make out of that. And sometimes I can work a job, but my disability, once when it becomes apparent, they won't let me work. Then my father cuts off doctors, so I can't get paperwork to go to work. Then I try to get anything to live off of, and he cuts those off, so I have to die in the woods again. He's been doing this for years. He's been trying to cut off anybody that helps me at all. He did this starting at age 5 to 6. Oh yeah. He cut me right off and moved me to Texas. Cut that right off, move me to New Mexico. Cut that right off, move me to Maine. Cut that right off, move me to Mass. Then just move me everywhere. Anyways, so because of that, my roommate is having a lot of issues for the last 3 years. But whenever I report stuff, like I'll give you an example. I had a seizure in this bedroom right over here. Now that's covered with bed bugs. Now I could have got the bed bugs fixed, and I did pay them, but I have a senile 84-year-old who can't remember that there was hundreds of bugs crawling on him. So when the landlord comes by, he's like, I don't remember anything. And they're like, aha, we don't need to do it. You're just a liar, Zach. Yeah, I've talked to your father. He says you're just a liar. I'm like, God damn it, we brought you samples. You've already sprayed this building like every couple years. Come on. But see, I have an 84-year-old I take care of, and I got a father trying to not get in trouble for the crimes he committed. Meanwhile, I'm working with Wentworth Douglas and other hospitals to get better, but my father tries to work with them to cut everything off as quick as possible. Oh boy, his fantasies are they go back 25 years. And he'll use old fantasies to try to prove his new fantasies. Oh, see all these papers from 2013, not 2013, sorry, from Zach's age 13, when Zach was age 13, 14, 15, 16. See all these papers? We have proof right here. But all it is my mother telling stories to a psychiatrist, my father paying them, and then them drugging the shit out of me. I get better every time that stops. Like when we moved to Texas, I got better. I started asking a doctor to help me with my seizures and neurological disorder. My mother got scared. They cut off all help. Moved me to New Mexico. So anyways, this is going on again. He called Dr. Hodge, tried to cut him off, and he cut off the Department of Health and Human Services worker, Beth, by giving her a fake Social Security case, saying that I'm just one big red herring. But see, that affected my roommate too. Like my roommate was supposed to be back at 9 a.m. He's not. There's all these problems going on with this guy. He's senile. He's gone. And you'll hear this from yesterday. His doctor, and Lowell knows this, but Wentworth Douglas won't listen, and so he just keeps on getting hurt. They're complicit in getting this old man hurt. I mean, like yesterday, all that nonsense didn't have to happen. Wentworth Douglas wouldn't listen. David is senile. My father is fucking everybody up. And so now shit happened. Shit went down yesterday. But I fixed it all again. But I had to stress myself out to the max. I had to call I had to call the courthouse. I had to call emergency case management out of Wentworth Douglas. I had to call doctors out of Lowell. And it's about to get really bad for everybody. And this is why it's so important that I just don't get treated less than human and people aren't allowed to abuse me, but there still are. Whenever I go to a doctor, my father's going to be right there behind them, ready to fuck it all up. And honestly, now that he's done it for 25 years and got away with it, it's going to be even harder. And this isn't like anybody else. Not many people go without education for 4 years, live in multiple different states, get beat on, get pilled up, are slipped pills by their mother and then lied about constantly until the point that they're drugged up sick, and then everybody's wondering why they're so sick. Then they get dropped off to live in the fucking woods while freezing to death. Fucking hospitals have no clue what's going on, so they just continue to release while this man's found unconscious on the side of the ground. Sometimes drugs, sometimes alcohol. Nope, nothing. Oh, nope, sober, 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 sober. Oh, this has been going back 25 years. Of course, oh, God is killing me. And I'm still not getting treatment. Why? Because my father's still cutting off treatment. My legs, they'll never be the same. Anyway, so what happened yesterday? At 1 a.m., I closed the windows because a rainstorm came in. Now, we know we have massive amounts of mold in the building. You can see it from the outside. Upstairs has it, downstairs has it. But a lot of these rich people from Agunkwood who have lots of money, who don't know how to take responsibility for their actions, they'll try to put their own stuff on other people. Like this landlord wants the upstairs neighbors to replace all the rusty pipes. He's just making up stories because it's downstairs where the pipes are. But the upstairs accidentally had a leak, so they're trying to blame it like they're flushing stuff or something, even though it's very clear this has been going on for over 12 years with the pipes. But whatever, we'll stay on topic because I'm having a little trouble speaking this morning and I'm getting shocked down my nervous system. Rather, you can tell when I'm doing better because my voice will be lower, but when you hear me have a more high-pitched, girly, psycho voice, that's usually just me getting shocked in my back. Anyway, so at about 1 a.m., my here, kaboom! My roommate has fallen near the doorway. He says he was dizzy before he went to bed. I'm dizzy. I'm having trouble walking around. I'm getting dizzy. Now, this has been going on for more than 3 years. I've been reporting to David's doctor and my doctor that whenever we close the windows, some thick air builds up. My guests say they get dizzy, they get headaches, and they start feeling like they're very dizzy. I start getting dizzy, I start getting headaches, and then I start falling down. David has dizziness and he falls down, and I can guarantee you every single time I close the windows, Dave gets up, he has a fall. At 1 a.m. the other night, this is what happened. The rainstorm came in, closed the window so the rain won't come in. David had a smashing fall. He fell on his shoulder and head. I had to get up and call 911. I dealt with the EMTs on arrival. I told them, the whole place is a mess for one, because we're living in a we're living in a studio, but we're paying for a 2-bedroom, and those bedrooms are infested. So we don't want to, I just paid out like 20 grand and stuff to refurnish this house, all brand new. Actually, it would be more closer to $5,000 to $6,000. I refurnished this whole place. So I can't buy David 3 more new mattresses, so he can't move into the bedroom. I can't move into the bedroom until the bugs are gone, because I can't just buy him a mattress every year. I don't have that much money. I don't know. I don't even have any money. Every year I have an injury and then I'm out of work. And then I have to go get help 4 months, or it's crazy. Nobody lives like this. Nobody. Everybody else just goes to work and that's it. Or they go on Social Security, go to work, whatever. But nobody else gets caught in these crazy loops because they have a fucked up family and father and mother and all that shit. Nobody goes through this. Nobody. This is illegal. It's massively illegal. It's considered manslaughter, for goodness sake. It's considered neglect as a child, but at this point it's considered manslaughter because they're continuing to commit crimes that they're aware are crimes to get away with crimes. Anyway, so I'm talking about my father, who is partly responsible for things getting this bad, why Wentworth Douglas won't listen to me, a caregiver who's a healthcare proxy, why Beth out of the Department of Health and Human Services dropped out of the case once when my father contacted them, why Dr. Hotch dropped out or after my father contacted them, and why Dave can't get any services is because I'm the one reporting that David needs help. But now they have it clear. I've reported that Christine Garber, who says that David is independent, has been misinformed completely by my father. My father has lied and manipulated her, weaponized her, and now there's an old man in danger. His name is David. He's falling down. He's not getting services. Nobody is helping him. And they're putting their weight on me, all because my father's a storyteller. Because my father told David's worker, Christine Garber, that I'm a mentally ill kid, and really, David's supporting me. David just goes out and blows all his money. David can't do fucking shit. David blows all his money. I gotta move him into the hospital. This is the expenses of the household. I put 1,000 to the household. David puts 500 to the household. David pays 500 in rent. I pay 500 in rent. So what's my other 500 for? All soaps, lamps, bills, everything. We split the electric if it has to be paid. Sometimes fuel assistance covers it. But David does not give me a dime. I'm constantly giving him money. He makes mistake after mistake. Just the other day, I had to give him more money. I went into the card. I had to do, oh my God, I'm borrowing money to help this man. I had to give him $2 on the back of his pocket to get him back from the hospital too. Because he had this fall, I had to go into my emergency fund I borrowed off my manager and slip it into his back pocket so he could get home. Why? Because David overdrafted his account last month and he overdrafted his account this month. I didn't make him overdraft it. I told him not to do that. I told him to cancel everything. I said, I will work out a budget for you, but you get you. But see, my father acts like everybody takes care of me. When none of them, they're all gone. They're all completely gone. I don't use anybody. I support myself or I move out. But I've been giving all my money to this household. Every last dime supporting these people. Calling, working. Just like yesterday. Well, we're going to go over now. Boy, that took me, I think I did 12 hours straight of work for free for this guy. And I mean like back-breaking work. I mean, how do I even get time for my own stuff? And then my father will call and say, no, David takes care of Zach. That's so stupid. No 84-year-old is taking care of a 31-year-old. Plus, he's senile. He's gone. He can't think straight. He's lazy as fuck. And then they'll call me lazy. My manager will be like, do you think that getting injured, having a seizure on the side of the road, then getting out of the hospital, going to work to do an 11-hour shift, then going to work to do a 12-hour shift, then going home, sleeping, then coming in to do a bunch more shifts, is that lazy? Because I was working like while injured. This is ridiculous. Everybody tells me I need to slow down and stop working so hard. It's the opposite. The more that my father does this, the more I drive myself to do more and more, do more. I gotta stop and slow down. I work plenty hard. I work harder than people keep on saying I work too hard. But anyways, we're gonna go over it. 1 a.m. My roommate has a fall. I call and deal with it. I get the ambulance on the phone. I leave a message with Dr. Romansky about it. I give them a report about the mold. They don't really listen. They listen a little bit. But I give them the report about the mold, but they've probably thrown it away now. They don't really listen to me. The place is a mess. I tell them about how 2 bedrooms are closed down because of bed bugs and how we're living in the living room. And for 3 years now. And I told David, we need to get these bedrooms back. I need you to stop being lazy and laying down. I've called the landlord. I have gone to court. I've filed for it. And every time I do, you say something ridiculously crazy. You need help. You need to go. I go to the hospital over and over in circles while my father brings me in circles. I go to the hospital, I ask for help, then my father cuts off the help, then I go back there, and then I go back for help, get the help, then my father cuts off the help, and then I go in circles. But David, you only have to ask for help one time because nobody is working against you. You don't have a crazy father like mine. I have you going senile, needing help, and I got my father trying to cut my help off. Well, he actually needs his own help too, in a way. I see that now after 25 years. I need a lot more of, after we get this documented, what my father and mother did to me, I get epilepsy medication and we clear out all this bullshit, fantasy bullshit. I mean, I can't live in a dead woman's fantasy. And I can't have an 88-year-old father trying to make up new fantasies to get out of trouble. And I can't have an 84-year-old senile sex offender falling down, getting hurt in the hospital, doing nothing about it, while Christine Garber, his worker, says, no, he can read, he can write, he has no problems, blah, blah, blah. The judge can see it. Everybody's worried about David completely now. I've been worried about him for 3 to 4 years. everybody who knows me and him knows that I've been doing everything for this man since we moved in. I do everything for these people. Meanwhile, other people like my father try to make sure everything's cut off for me. Anyway, so he has a fall. He gets on the stretcher. They get him into the ambulance. I'm grabbing his stuff. I get his bags ready. I try to give him the slippers, but he has feces on the pants and slippers, so they won't take the slipper. And I was literally that day before telling him to clean up his feces, and instead I cleaned up the feces off his pants for him. So luckily I have one pair of clean pants that have no feces on it because I spent in the tub cleaning it. He says he doesn't have change for any laundry. I told him, you need to keep laundry quarters. Why are you smoking cigarettes if you don't have laundry quarters? What do I do with the last of my money whenever I get injured, David? He goes, buy triple of everything. I go, yes, I buy triple laundry quarters, triple bleach, triple detergent, triple food, triple bus fare. I try to stock up on all that stuff right before I can't, I'm going to be out for a while because this hurts. Whenever I have a seizure, I got a plan for it. I go, but what are you doing? He goes, well, I don't have money. I go, then how are you smoking? Where'd you buy those cigarettes? He goes, well, I had $4 and it's only $3 for laundry. Well, so I got to try to convince him about this. Anyways, I cleaned his pants. They're all dry. I get the pants together. Just grab a shirt. I put $2 in his back pocket, two nice ones. I give it to the ambulance driver. He has his colostomy bags with him. We get him down the stairs and into the stretcher. He had a bad fall in the kitchen because the windows were closed again. And this place is clustered, but he didn't trip over anything, luckily. He just did a sidestep fall. He tried to grab onto something too to catch his weight. He does this every time the windows are closed because it just gets dizzy. I do it too sometimes if I sit in here too long. It gets really bad for everybody when you close the windows and it builds up. It's been like that for anybody in this building. You can see rotted holes and mold everywhere eating away at the wood. I'm not kidding. Our windows are very clearly getting big bites out of it from mold bites. You can see the mold growing everywhere in this place. There's also waterfalls that come in even with the windows closed. But nobody will listen to me down at Rochester or down anywhere because remember, my father says I'm just a fantasy spinner. These waterfalls are just a game. And I like to show off my testicles and pee-pee. And I'm just mentally ill wanting more money and I'm lazy. I just want to sit on my ass and play video games. Meanwhile, what happened during COVID? I kept this whole town running. I was the only person with a store open 7 days a week having seizures on the side of the road because there was no transportation. Rochester closed down. Everything closed. And my landlord demanded I still pay rent and no services would be paid out to me. Finally, when I had an ID, I had everything I needed to go out of work. I had seizures. I was bleeding internally. I mean, horrible stuff was going on with me. They say they stopped helping people 7 days with the rent situation. But all through COVID, all the way, because COVID, they said, ended. Because COVID ended, they weren't doing any of that. They gave me an ID, like literally as COVID ended. I was trying it's just one mistake after another by them. Like they said, they lost my appointment. Stuff like that. But anyways, we got my father calling them, telling them that I'm just some weirdo, serial killer, homicidal, suicidal, mentally ill. And he also brainwashed me into believing some of these and being confused about them. Yeah, he also cut off doctors and teachers and education and all these other... No, just fucked up. Then they send messages like I should conform to the abuse and stuff like that. I should just conform to the abuse. I should live in the hole in the woods with $0. And other people live with $0 in the woods, Zach. They do? During winter? Who? Where? Who lives their entire lives with $0 in the woods? Because I have a job. I have a job right now. I have stuff to do. I have an apartment. I have a job. But it sure seems like that's not the problem. Because when I don't have a job, he blames the job. But I have a job. So I just can't go back to it until we get some paperwork. If I don't drive, he says I'm stupid. I'm just too stupid for it. If I do pass the test and then I just choose not to use my hands and arms to drive, then I'm just, I'm just too what? Oh, I'm making up stories, is what he'll say. So just some one thing after another. And then if I get a license and I'm in a car and I get in an accident because I have a spasm or a seizure from the epilepsy, then he'll say I'm making up stories and I'm just a homicidal maniac driving a car. So my family has one story after another about me. No matter how much I try to ask for help, they're going to destroy me. They've already destroyed my internal organs to a point where I'm not going to be alive much longer. I'll be lucky if I live past 40 in the condition I'm in, but if I just get epilepsy medication and some paperwork about what was done to me, I can live probably to 55, 60 years old. I'll never make it to retirement though. I mean, my mother drugged me on Halloween to the point that I was really, really sick to get her way. It was pretty bad. And we still don't know what that was about. We still don't know what she drugged me with on those 3 Halloweens. And so I have no information on that one other than I got incredibly sick. I didn't get any help with the food poisoning in New Mexico. When I had a seizure out in New Mexico, nobody ever brought me to the hospital. When I had the overdose in Westford, at the doctor's office when I asked for help, nobody would help me. My mother just called it a mysterious allergy attack. They started trying to help me at school and with the doctors, and I was moved to Texas. But anyway, so nobody's helping David very much, but I got him in the ambulance. Okay, so at 1 a.m., this would be on 1 a.m. the 20th. So August 20th, 1 a.m., he was brought to the emergency room. I got a call at 6:30. Now, of course, Wentworth Douglas calls me a lot to pick him up. I'm his contact, and sometimes I have him pick me up after surgery, but then he just does nothing. I just have him show his face. That's it. David actually is so senile, he can't even form a sentence properly or tell the truth properly, but it's on accident with him. My adopted father, Henry, he'll lie on purpose to try to get out of trouble, and he'll avoid responsibility or stuff like that, or he'll purposely leave out context to misinform you. Kind of like a lot of rich people do that. They'll hold some piece of paper up, and then they'll leave out context with it to fool you. Stuff like that. It's pretty common. But once when you get the context, then you go, oh, whoa, you fooled me. You told the truth, but you fooled me. So stuff like that. Anyways, I pick up David Ganji. He's at the hospital. He's had a head injury. His nose doesn't look too good. His shoulder. He definitely fell on the ground. It doesn't look good at all. But I called the ambulance on him. I'm wicked worried about him. He's falling down like a jumping bean. And I'm also worried because David is senile and gone. He's worried about being in a home. He doesn't know what's going on. And my father just wants me gone. He wants me gone. So they're going to try to kill me or finish me off. Maybe even falsely imprison me. I have no idea. They're scary people. Henry is a very scary man. He's willing to destroy other people's lives as long as it means he doesn't get into trouble. He's been doing it for 25 years with me and other people. It's just bad. Anyways, as David is at the hospital, I get a call at 6:30 to pick him up. So I'm in no condition right now, and it's pretty cold, and I'm not doing well in cold. I put on a jacket, a light jacket, thinking it'll be warm. I mean, it's August, right? So it must be, a light jacket, a long sleeve, long, heavy pants, and I go out to pick up David. I use a cane, and I'm bent over because I just had a seizure, some other injuries, kidney problem, just a lot after 25 years of not getting treatment. I mean, my father's bullshit affects every part of my life. Even if I get a fractured leg, it's still going to get a lot worse thanks to my father's bullshit. So, I go pick up David, who's not my father. Remember, David Ganji is one of my clients. I work with disabled children, disabled elderly people. And if you're like, well, how could you work with disabled children if you're psycho? That must be a lie. I go, nope. I worked for the ECC for Special Needs Children for about 4 years, and I did that through the MSEC program, MSEC. And I did that for 4 years straight. And the only problem they ever had with me is that my mother was drugging me too much at nighttime by calling the doctors and having me take prescriptions I don't need. So every morning I looked all drugged up on Seroquel, Thorazine, Trazodone, Remeron, Lamictal, Risperidone. Just my mother was loading me up. And I was telling the doctor I was having problems sleeping. I had anxiety about my mother hurting me all the time, PTSD from all the shit that happened to me in Texas and before Texas and in New Mexico, and that I really, really didn't really want the amphetamines, but I did have ADHD. But my mother was behind the scenes with my father trying to get me really drugged up. I didn't know how that would affect me. I wasn't an adult yet. They were the adults hurting me. So when I was trying to go to work from age 16 to 19 and a half, about 3.5, 4 years worth of it, the only complaint they ever had was, you got to tell those doctors to stop giving you so many meds at night. Every morning you come in, you look all fucked up, and then as far as it wears off, then you're the greatest teacher's aide ever. But we don't like the kids seeing you, your eyes are all half masked, you look all lethargic, you look hungover. I go, that's been going on since age 12. Ever since my mother started giving me all these pills. My mother drugged me up and gave me a lot of pills. I thought I was supposed to take these. The doctor says I should take them. So anyways, I go back to the doctor and I say, hey, my work says that maybe you're giving me too many pills, so maybe you could cut me back. And he goes, no, just give it more time. Actually, let's double up the Seroquel. So then my job, they asked me, so did you tell the doctor to take you off the pills? I said, yeah, I asked him if I needed to come off the pills, and he doubled me up. They said, you know what, Zach, we can't have you working here. I go, why? He goes, well, those pills you're taking at nighttime are making you extremely drowsy in the morning, and if your doctors aren't willing to do the right thing, we can't have you work here. I said, really? I didn't know that taking medicine from a doctor was such a big deal. They told me I had to take this or something bad would happen to me. They go, really? Your mother told you something bad would happen to you if you stopped taking your medication? I go, yes, of course. I thought I was supposed to take all these pills. My mother said that I would get worse and there's some disability really hurting me. Anyway, so that interfered with my ability to work and continue doing that. And so, and it got worse because the doctor kept on loading me up on more and more and more and more and more and more pills. What I didn't know is based upon my mother and father trying to cover up what they did to me. Anyway, so now David Ganji, I'm picking up at 6:30. I get there around 7. He tries to get to the bus stop, but he misses the bus at about 6:30. At 6:36 he gets there, but normally the bus comes at 6:38, but he was a little slow. So anyways, we gotta wait around. So we wait around indoors. Now I'm shaking. I'm having a little problem with my neurological disorder, but I pick him up. But I'm exhausted. I've been up since 1 a.m. I pick him up. He's all set to go. At 8:36, he gets on the bus, but I have a doctor of my own at 9. And I can't miss that 9, or I got to redo it on Thursday, and I'll have a problem picking up my prescriptions. And I need those Trilipto and other medications. So, anyways, it's no big deal. I'll get there right at 9. I got to rush in, bring him in, all that. So anyways, I get Dave on the bus, 8:36. We get home off the bus. I walk him in slowly. He's walking in kind of loopy. I'm okay, doing a little better, but I'm a little shaky from the cold. But when I get inside, I'll do a little better. I'm not in great shape. I mean, after 25 years of the things happening to me. But I can get better pretty easily as long as we get these things. David comes in at about, I would say 9-ish. I get in at 9. Fine, great. I go right to my doctor. I tell David, go lay down. I'll do everything for you. Don't do anything. I go over to my doctor. I also mentioned to him, oh, by the way, stop hiding the rent that needs to go down. One of us has to bring down an envelope every Tuesday. If we don't, have it back down there, blah, blah, blah. I give him the short version. We need to bring that down. So I go, so give that to me. I get on the phone with my doctor. Not even 5 minutes go by. No, stop talking. You were supposed to get back here by 9 to do doctor stuff. So just quiet for one moment because you weren't supposed to spend that much time this morning. You're gonna get thrown out, David, because you don't have time for this week. We're not on a normal schedule anymore. 9/3 is your last day. I gotta help you pack. Anyway, so yesterday we get back about 9, like you heard. I tell him I'm going to need you to stop hiding your rent money or other stuff or the stuff that needs to go down because you might need my help, but I don't know where you're hiding stuff. You're picking up stuff and putting it away. What I mean by hiding is he puts stuff in different clothing and bags, and I don't I don't know where he does that, and he doesn't tell me. So anyways, I get on my phone, I'm typing in 856 blah 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 blah, all this super codes that they send you. They send you a Zoom code, the doctors, and then you have to copy the Zoom code from your text or your email on the Zoom. Then you got to press load, and then you have to make it silent. So I start doing that, and then I hear David go, "Hey, I'm going out to them." And I'm like, "Huh?" Closes the door. I say, "Okay, huh?" He's out the door. Okay. So anyways, my doctor comes on my phone, and now I'm a little worried. David, I just saw put on his vest. Doesn't he keep his? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm trying to do my doctor here. What is David doing? That must be the phone ringing. So that was that his. Anyways, my doctor comes on talking to me. So he talks to the group. I get a little space where I can turn off the camera and speaker for 1 second, and I can pretend like I'm still in group. So I cut off the camera, I cut off the speaker, and I go make sure David's still resting in the house. Like I told David, rest, and we're going to call Dr. Romansky. You don't need to do anything. I told him, you don't need to do anything. You do not need to do anything but rest and get ready for the 3rd when you're moving out of your home. That's all you need to worry about. Nothing else. You don't need to stock the fucking house with food because the food won't be here. You don't need to buy movies because the movies won't be here. You don't even got to get coffee because you won't have a coffee pot here. If you want a coffee pot, then you need to plan with me to bring your coffee pot. That's what we're doing, is resting, planning, getting it ready, packing your bags. So anyways, he knows about this. I said it simply. You're resting. You got to call Dr. Romansky with me. Don't do anything. You just got out of the hospital with a head injury, a shoulder injury. You had me come all the way down to pick you up. We just got back at 9. But nope, he ran out of here and hopped in a caravan right back where I picked him up. So he was at Wentworth Douglas, and they asked me to pick him up because he shouldn't be walking around by himself. So I go and pick him up and get him right back. From 9 to 9:05, he's already back at Wentworth Douglas. I'm like, oh my God, what the hell's going on with him? And actually, I don't even know if he really did take the caravan. I think he said that on the way out, so that's why I assume that's what he did. Well, now I got to get back on my doctor because my doctor's still calling. Hey, Zach, where are you? Well, we called on you, Zach. Zach. So I'm like, oh shit. So I go back to the bed and I had to go over and I turn hey, Zach, so what did you think about this? And I go, and luckily I heard a couple bit about it. And I told them, well, blah, blah, blah. And told everybody the good kind of psych news and all. How I'm like, yeah, I guess if you do have side effects from medication, it is very important. But also, it's very important to understand your own pre-existing conditions and how they affect you. Like, for instance, if you were on Suboxone and you were getting withdrawal symptoms and you think that is part of your mental illness, it's important to go off the medication and see if it persists. Or what happened beforehand and blah, blah. I'm speeding through it. That's not a good version. I mean, I don't have 10 minutes because I have to stay with that group and I have to stay with the doctor for the whole hour. So I give my little spiel, I turn my speaker off and everybody else is talking. I go, I better eat because I'm gonna have to pick up the meds and then I'm gonna have to track down Dave and call his doctor. I'm gonna have to go through the bag, see if the money's here. He doesn't have a phone to contact. I call Wentworth Douglas and they said they don't know who I'm referring to, probably because I gotta call the is he cardio or no. It's radio. No, he stopped that. Anyway, so I go get the meds. I come right back. I go through all the folders. There's nothing there. At 3 o'clock, the sheriff's at the door. He doesn't have a bag packed, and David will not be able to get his clothing, his bags, his meds, his wallet, anything. I'm packed. As you can see, I have emergency bags in case something like that happens. But David doesn't because he doesn't think this is going to happen because he has payments and I extended this for him. Oh yeah, by the way, David would have had to be out at 8:20. I would have had to be out at 8:20 because I can't return back to work until my father works with me and doctors work with me on my real disabilities, instead of my father and doctors hurting me on all these fake mental disabilities that poisoned my body for over 25 years. Oh, yes, my body has had a lot of problems. I didn't look like this at age 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31. I did every year. I get a little worse. I have my seizures get close together. My neurological disorder gets worse. I have more seizures. I'm left in the woods to survive. I'm getting thrown out. Landlords take advantage of me. Strangers take advantage of me. My father makes up more stories about me in a new town, in a new state, whatever. So my roommate's having trouble getting help because when I tell them, hey, give him this med, or Tuesdays are off limits, I told Wentworth Douglas Hospital, and his doctor agreed with me out of Lowell. Dr. Omansky out of Lowell agreed that if David has stuff to do with the courts on Tuesday, and if you can do it for him only some of the time because you have doctors on Tuesday, then David should not have so much time on Tuesday because I only spend 1 hour. Then I can go do the court stuff while I pick up my meds. And meds can be picked up anytime. And if I got to skip it, I can move it to Thursday in an emergency as far as picking up the meds. I can move it around. And I mean, but as far as David, he has no flexibility. He doesn't know where he is. It takes him 4 hours. Like, for instance, this morning, he said he was just going to pick up some milk for breakfast. That was at 8 a.m. I said, that's fine. But at 9 a.m., we got to get a hold of Dr. Omansky before lunchtime because then it's going to be impossible for me to get through with them until about 3, 2 o'clock. Like yesterday, it's easier around 1:32 to get a hold of them. He didn't get back till 11:30, 11:20. That's a long time after 9. He was supposed to be back at 9. So obviously, David takes way too much time on a gallon of milk. Okay, you need a gallon of milk, fine. But let's plan it after your shit. We can pick up a gallon of milk at 5 if you want, no problem. 5 p.m., nobody cares. But 9 a.m. is going to be your doctor's time. And chemo, that's why we're canceling the chemo, because you're moving. You're not going to be traveling up here every day. You're not going to be coming from Lowell to Rochester every day. And you certainly aren't going to need a whole house full of food if you're not staying. And if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. So I'm trying to work out all these details. I'm trying to get him to pack a bag. I'm trying to get all the phone calls done. But once again, David comes back at 9 yesterday. We're talking about yesterday. I pick him up at Wentworth Douglas. He comes home at 9. Right back out the door to Wentworth Douglas. And now he's stuck there. He's stuck there with the envelope that has to go by 3. 2, where? Rochester District Court. Now, what happens if now David doesn't get down there? Now, I don't know this. David has just kind of done a bunch of loopy stuff since 1 a.m. And I've been chasing him around town. First, I got to get him help at 1 a.m. Then I got to help him at 6:30. Then I got to wait with him till 8:30. Then I get him home at 9. Then he runs off with the check in the opposite direction that he needs to be bringing, so I can't help him. Then I finish my doctor at 10. So I've spent all my morning from 1 a.m. to 9 fixing all this man's problems. I leave him for 5 minutes by himself just to sign in. All I do is leave him for 5 minutes. 5 minutes just so I can sign in to my doctor. And before I can even look back, he's already on a freaking vehicle all the way in the opposite direction with stuff that has to go in that direction. And now he's stuck there with no transportation, no phone, and he hasn't notified me what the hell's going on. So I go pick up the meds and I check through the house, and now I'm calling Wentworth Douglas. I'm calling to get a hold of Dave. I'm calling the courts. I'm calling a bunch of workers, and I work it out. So that way they're able to, I say, can't you guys bring him, how about you get the caravan brings him to the courthouse? How about you put him on the phone? I work this out. And then they go, well, caravan can't do that. Caravan can't bring him to the courthouse. Maybe they can bring him down the street. I said, oh, well, how about you pick me up and I do it with it? Or how about, they said, we'll work it out. Just you call his other doctor and then see what you can do about the courthouse. And because remember, if that piece of that envelope doesn't make it to the courthouse by now, 3 o'clock, then the sheriff comes because they stop taking it at 3 and the sheriff comes at 4. Well, can't I go down there? No, because he's in the opposite direction. If I take a bus, that direction's about, like, I don't know, I could probably take the 1 o'clock to him, pick it up, and then I have to wait for the 2:30 because I know David. I'll have to search from around the building, find him. I won't be out of that building by 1:30, and I won't make it down until I take the 2:30 bus. Now, if we take the 2:30 bus, we're late. We can't use the 2:30 bus. It either has to be the 1:30 bus, the 12:30 bus, or sooner. Well, now it's all messed up because I had to search and call and figure out what the hell was going on. And David was not supposed to do chemo on Tuesdays. I have made that very clear for weeks now. And David, when he came right in the door, all he was supposed to do was lay down and let me handle everything. Instead, now he's causing more problems. Okay, so what did I do? I called everybody. I worked with the social worker. I worked with the courts. I drove myself nuts. I got the ride set up. David was down there. I told him to leave a message upstairs. I also went through every single bag in the house. I went through every single folder so that the nurse would know that David has it, because David doesn't know really if he has it or not. If he did, then he wouldn't have brought it there because he knows what would happen. So with all that going on, I worked it all out. David comes home at 5 p.m. and I ask him, did all my hard work pay off, or is the sheriff still coming? Because I didn't see the sheriff, and I've been checking the cameras. He goes, no, your hard work, yeah, they did help me. He didn't explain how, but I kind of have an idea because I'm the one who was calling. Okay, so I finally get to go to bed 1 a.m. to 5 p.m. Woof, that's one hell of a work day, huh? Okay, so then I make Dave supper, some soup and rice. I go and relax, and we're done with the day. Today I woke up at 8 a.m. I told David at 9 a.m. I have phone calls to do with him. He says, I want milk. I say, okay, I'm not going to tell you can't have milk. If you want milk, you can have milk. He goes, I'm going to go up the street and I'm going to get some milk and water. I go, okay, David, if you want milk and water, but this sounds like a cigarette story to me. Sounds like he really wants to get a pack of smokes. I'm not quite sure what the hell's going on. But also, they can't get milk at Walgreens because of the recall. They just recalled all milk at Walgreens because it's bad. Apparently, it's not good stuff. But anyways, he wants to go out and say, okay, just be back by 9 because we got work to do. And if you come back at 11, they'll be at lunch. And we can't waste any more days. I mean, all I can do is have you pack if you come back too late. We can pick up milk. But if you're just going right across the block up the street to, golf, it's only a 10-minute area, but I don't fall, take your cane, and I don't really like it. He goes, okay. I look at the clock. 1 hour goes by, 2 hours go by. Now we're at 3 hours and he's back. Now all the places are at lunch, and it'll be a pain in the ass. I can call them. I can leave a message, but it gets confusing now. Because if you call them in the morning, you get the doctor, and it's easy to have these conversations. But now Dave's going to be dizzy, tired. He's not going to make any sense. I'm not going to get the direct doctor, and it's going to be impossible to handle what I'm trying to handle. So once again, now today, he hasn't listened. He was supposed to do calls with me at 9. I even was resting and taking it slow myself. Okay, well now I don't even know where to leave off. I don't. How do you do this stuff with somebody? Well, you normally go get him help. You talk to his doctors, and you're just like anybody else. You know how 84-year-olds have sons? The son calls the doctors, they work out the appointments, they drive them to their whatever, and they make a calendar out or a schedule. I'm doing all that with David's doctors. But don't forget, these people have workers too. A lot of them have elderly services workers to help them with paperwork, and they listen to somebody like a son or a brother or a sister. Well, David is working with me, except for now that Christine Garber and his workers have talked to my father, they've labeled him independent falsely. Dave is in a lot of trouble. Dave is getting hurt. The landlord's playing us for fools. The landlord wants to drain David's money and my money to redo his building because he sees an advantage. He goes, oh shit, here we go. Yes. And every time David makes a mistake and gets dizzy and cries himself to bed because he did something to hurt me, the landlord's smiling his ass off going, thank you, David, again. Like, I've tried to file to bring this to the Supreme Court, but it's become impossible because of David's behaviors. I've tried. Even in the courthouse in district court, I couldn't even get anything forward. I am cross-examining. I'm speaking for David. I'm filing paperwork. I'm printing out. I'm overworked. I'm doing everything. David is quiet and shaking. He has, like, for instance, there was a person who has been harassing David since 2019. Guess what? This bully. I mean, it has nothing to do with the case, but this man has made threats and it uses intimidation every time we try to file a complaint. Like the septic tank we talked about, this guy came over wanting to try to beat on David. Well, this was caught on camera and a restraining order was issued. Guess where this man sits? He just comes in the courthouse and sits in back of David, starts whispering bullshit. Why is he part of the case? Well, because the landlord paid him to intimidate David, and says, "Oh, he's not my maintenance, but he's my side help," and there's a bunch of bullshit. Well, we have no defense for David because he can't speak in the court. Like, once again, David's illness is interfering. Well, he needs help. Can't he get help? Yes, I've been trying. I've asked for help for David for years, but they will not give it to him until either my father stops lying about me or David asks for help the right way for himself. But see, David gets all confused. He'll say, "There's abuse," but he won't name anybody. You have to name the person. Well, he'll say, "Is it in the household?" And he'll go, "Oh, yeah." But it's not. It's outside near the door, or it's out in the parking lot, or so it gets very confusing. And I'm doing all this work like you just heard, and then I'm worn out. My leg hurts right now on the right one, and I twisted it yesterday running around like a crazy person with no sleep. I'm like, okay, I got to pick up. Okay, 1 a.m., do this. 6:30, do this. 9 o'clock, do this. Okay, go over here, do this. Oh, nope, down. I got to make this phone call. Nope, now I got to call this person for David. Oh, now I need to call. So, of course, as you can see, it gets tiring. But it doesn't have to be this way. It's a bunch of people who don't want to take responsibility for their actions. The Rochester doesn't want to spend money. My father doesn't want to get in trouble. And it's just getting out of control. My whole family is just loopy at this point. I've been 25 years out of control with my family. David just needs medical services that are pretty basic before this tumor gets any bigger or his mind goes any more. Yeah, he's obviously had a lot of cancer throughout his body. So yeah, I'm working on that, but it's been ongoing issues. And now I either got to move out and get him into the hospital at 9/3 or 10/3. But there's a bunch of stuff to issue, and I'm not in good shape myself. Remember, 25 years of somebody trying to shut me up, and now they really want me off. They really don't want me speaking up, because now people are believing me to some point, then they try to cut them off, and then they believe me, then they try to cut them off. It is pretty hard on both ends.